probably talk to thousands, if not tens of thousands of people about their health issues. And what I usually do when I talk to people is I try to get to the root of those issues and I try to figure out what was the initial cause of those health issues or what initially triggered it. Okay. And of course, this is going to be different for everyone, right? But I have come to find that there are a lot of similarities, and I seem to find a lot of really good. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming on. Yeah, I seem to find a common cause of a lot of health issues and diseases. And so what I usually do is when someone messages me or we start talking on the phone or whatever, they'll say, okay, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have thyroid issues, I have hormone imbalance, I have weight gain, I have problems with my energy or my sleep or my skin or, digestion or whatever, right? And I say, okay, usually one of the first questions I ask is, when did these problems start, right? So I ask, how long have you been dealing with these issues? And probably at least half the time, they give me a specific number. They know exactly how long they've been dealing with this stuff or exactly like the time frame that it started. Even if it was 25 or 30 years ago, they can say it started right after the birth of my second child, or it started exactly 8 years ago, or I've been suffering with this for 9 months, right? And basically, they have a very good idea usually of what the time frame is. Not always. Sometimes they've been suffering from something most of their life and they don't know the time frame, but that's actually kind of rare. Most of the time people can kind of pinpoint a time frame. So what my next question usually is, okay, what happened right before that? Right? Like, so if they say, okay, it's been 9 months, I say, okay, so what happened a year ago? Did you have some kind of trauma? Were you in an accident? Did you get really sick? Were you on some meds? Were you hospitalized? Like, what happened? Something happened, right? Something had to trigger it, especially if it was like a specific time frame, right? Like if you know that there's a specific time that it started, something had to trigger it, right? So basically, that's the kind of questions that I ask. I ask, how long has it been going, and what happened before that, right? So if it was 5 years ago, okay, what happened 6 years ago, right? Like what happened before that? And what did it start with? Like, what were the initial symptoms? Like, did you start off with some like digestive issues or sleep problems or whatever, and it kind of escalated into something else and then something else and then something else? That's typically how it goes. It just starts snowballing into all these different issues, right? And people are like, oh, I'm just really unlucky, right? Like I just have all these health issues and I don't know why, and they're unrelated, but they're not, right? Like they're never unrelated. So can anyone guess? Can anyone out there guess what the common denominator is in almost every case? Like almost every case, it's the same thing, okay? And I can almost always trace it back to this one thing. Can anyone guess what that is? Anybody? I'm going to see if anybody has no comments yet, really. I don't see. So guess. Just throw a guess out there. What could it be? Do you think it's some kind of trauma, like a car accident or an illness or a birth? What do you think it is? Okay, somebody said food, somebody said childhood trauma. Those are good guesses. That's not the thing that I found. It's not the thing that I've seen is the trigger. That may be involved. It may be involved, right? But what else? What else do you think could be like the main trigger I see of like triggering health issues that kind of snowball into these lifelong health problems that we just struggle with our whole lives? Childhood trauma may definitely be part of it or like a component of it, but it doesn't usually trigger the health problems itself. Okay, I'm gonna abuse. That's a good guess too. I'm just gonna tell you. So, dun dun dun. The major, this is going to surprise some people, I think. Bad foods is another thing, but that's not usually the trigger, okay? It definitely exacerbates it, and all of these things can contribute or exacerbate, right? But the main trigger that I usually find, antibiotics. In almost every single case, like almost everyone. It's shocking, honestly. It's honestly shocking. And the thing is too, that like so many